There may come a point when you're working with footage when you realize I need to convert this footage to another aspect ratio, or I need to change the frame rate of the file itself. Well, you can do this by interpreting footage. So in order to pull this off, you'll first need to have some footage in your project bin. Once you have it, as we do right here, you'll need to right click and go down to Interpret Footage and then choose Main. A new window will appear, and here you can change any option that you wish pertaining to the footage. To start with, you can choose the alpha channel. You can choose to ignore it. You can choose a straight unmatted channel. You can pre-multiply, you can invert the alpha, or you can even have the program guess for you what the alpha is going to do. Now for this video, we actually don't have an alpha channel, so that's why it's grayed out. However, if you do have a video that contains alpha, you can come in here and you can play with those options. Coming down here to the frame rate, you can choose the frame rate from the file itself, which it was at 23.976 frames per second, or 24. You can also choose to conform the frame rate. So let's say you're working with all this footage that's at 15 frames per second, or 30 or 60, and this is the only file that's not. Well, you can come in here and you can change the frame rate. Now this may give you some wonky results depending on what your original frame rate is and what you want to change it to, so just be careful when you are conforming the frame rate. In addition to this, you can also choose the time code. You can use the source time code from the file, which is the default, or you can override the start time code and choose your own. So again, it just depends on how you want to work. You can also dictate the fields and pull downs. So if you want to interlace, you can come down here. You can choose the separate fields, upper field first or lower field. It's set to off since we want to do progressive. You can also come down here and remove the pull down if you want as well. Again, that's set to off. And you have some other options on the bottom, mainly pertaining to the pixel aspect ratio. This may seem familiar as we could do this with our compositions, but we can come in here and we can go from square pixels to anamorphic or anything in between. Again, it just depends on how you want to work with your footage. We can also loop the playback down here as well. And this window does get cut off, but those are all the options we have on this window. You're just not seeing the OK and cancel buttons on the bottom. Besides this, we also have color management, and you may recall with compositions, we could create different color profiles for them. Well, the same applies here for your clips. Depending on how your clips were encoded, you can choose different profiles if you want, and you can apply them accordingly. So those are the interpret footage options in After Effects. If you need to make some quick changes to your footage, this is where you can go before you start the editing process.